Welcome back to Ballroom Chat, a podcast about sharing the dance journey. I'm your host, Samantha with Love.Live.Dance. Today, my guest is Izabella Lewandowski. She is a U.S. National Professional Latin Finalist, a U.S. National Professional Showdance Champion, and a World Professional Latin Showdance Finalist. She's also the co-owner of several Fred Astaire dance studios and the Los Angeles regional representative for the Fred Astaire franchise. I had the opportunity to sit down and chat with her about her own dance journey, overcoming self-doubt in the professional world, and what she means by intention and mindset when it comes to furthering your own dance experience. So without further ado, let's jump into our conversation with Izabella Lewandowski. Thank you, Izabella, so much for being a guest on today's podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
So for those that maybe aren't familiar with your story, can you tell us a little bit about how you got into the ballroom dance sport industry and kind of what led you to the point that you now are an adjudicator, a judge, a studio owner, and have a couple of titles to your name?
I started back in Poland, where I'm from. I was 10 years old, and I went to a birthday party, literally, of a friend that was already a dancer, and there was a lot of friends from a studio, and they had fun dancing cha-cha-cha and different type of things. And I thought, wow, that would be interesting to try. I was always a busy kid, trying literally everything from fencing to karate, horseback riding, etc. And I decided to try out the ballroom dancing. And from the day one, from my very first group class, I got addicted, and I knew this is it. This is something I want to do for the rest of my life. And it took over my life. Yeah. And shortly after, I started to go to the group class, and I was lucky to find a partner in the very beginner junior division. And that's it. And ever since then, it was all serious training and dance camps, competitions. And in the year of 2000, my then partner, now also husband, Tomas, we've been presented an offer to come to United States and work in a studio and compete for the United States. And we came in and we loved it here, and we've been here ever since. And yeah, competed, work, do program competitions with our lovely students, and work hard and just climb up the ladder like everyone else. And that's how, yeah. And we retired in 2010 from a competitive dancing. Then we were extremely busy and very fortunate to be traveling the country and coach other students or professionals and visit different studios. We started our judging career, so we've been fortunate to judge multiple competitions, including the United States Championships or Ohio Star Bowl and amateur and national dance sport championships. And 10 years ago, actually, we've been also approached by Fred Astaire Dance Studios, and we started to do a little trips and traveling, coaching within the studios, and we fell in love with the system of teaching and the family atmosphere, and we joined the company and became an area representative for Los Angeles region and opened a studio in Redondo Beach. And then currently we have 4 studios in our region. So we're very proud and ready to work and expand and create a more of a community and give other people opportunity, whether to work or to fall in love with dance. And so that's my story.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So when you were originally training as a youth amateur, were you dancing 10 dance or were you already specialized in Latin at that point?
No. So back in Europe, at that time, we didn't have the choice to choose the style until we became an amateurs. So everybody from a young age to an amateur category, we had to train in both. So I've always competed at 10 dance up until I became an amateur and start dancing with my husband. And then we have decided then Latin is something we love the most and want to just focus our time training and our finances on one style. And that's where we started the Latin. But anything before that was 10 dance.
So what was
Yeah.
it about the Latin style specifically that that made it such an easy decision for you and Tomas to say, you know what, this is what we're passionate about. This is what we want to really dedicate our time and our effort into pursuing?
Well, I love both styles, but when I started dancing with Tomas, his personality definitely was a Latin personality. The energy that he naturally has and the love and passion for the Latin dances made it easy really for me, because when we started to dance, I wasn't as accomplished of a dancer as Tomas. Tomas was undefeated Polish national champion at the time. So just the fact that he wanted to dance with me, I first thought he's just being sarcastic when he asked me. I'm like, why would you dance with me? I wouldn't even dance with me. I'm not even there in the final and you're winning everything. And he just really thought that the dedication that I have and the passion for dance was something he admired, and he really loved that. He said, I'm winning, but I wanted to enjoy it as well. It's not just about the result. So when I started to dance with him, it was very easy in that moment to say, you know, I don't mind doing just one dance. But for him, definitely, he had one direction. The Latin dances was something he was just passionate about. So was I, but you know, like I said, I didn't mind doing standard as well. I loved it. But dancing with Tomas, I felt like, yes, for us, the Latin would be it. And also growing up in a country where it was not easy to at that time financially. You know, we've done what we could. Parents were really sacrificing a lot to provide for us, so it also made sense financially to be focusing all of our coaching, our time and money into one style at the time. So kind of a few little factors, but yeah, definitely Tomas was, I love Latin, so it was a no-brainer for us.
That makes it easy.
Stick with one. Yeah.
Definitely. I want to go back to something that you just mentioned, which was the fact that Tomas was a little bit higher ranked and that you were kind of taken aback when he approached you to become his dance partner. What was that mindset like? What emotions were you feeling? Did you have to go through of like a process to accept, like, no, this is really happening and I can dance at this level. I should be dancing at this level. Let's make it happen.
Well, there was a lot of emotions that I was feeling at the time because, you know, back in Europe, it was very sports like, it was very competitive, all these championships. And I was not a beginner anymore at that time, but I wasn't in that level. So for me, I would watch Tomas in TV, for example, dreaming about having a partner like that one day that is so dedicated, so you know, passionate about dance. And I was in the process of finding that as well. So when he did ask me, first of all, the mindset was a little doubt in me. I didn't believe that I'm good enough to dance with someone like Tomas, who has already accomplished so much. And then after that, the emotion was like, oh, wow, there's going to be a lot of pressure, of course, on me to make sure that I can catch on and catch up to that level. So, you know, someone that was a national champion or a national finalist is all of a sudden change partner to someone that is not as good, and now the results are not happening. So that was in my mind, kind of thinking, well, I don't want to ruin his results by not being you know, capable, or maybe not as trained. But you know, Tomas is very well, he's a very people compassionate person, and he once he wants something, he really pushed for it. So he was very comforting. So he was like, listen, I don't care about results. I want to enjoy it. And I see your passion. I want to give you a chance. You're good enough, but you won't, result is not just what's going to make you believe in yourself. And that kind of shaped my mindset into a different level. And I was, let's do it. And we trained before school, after school, during summer. We would spend 2 months in a dance camp where we danced 12 hours a day, bleeding feet. No one cared. We were just doing the work. And luckily enough, we made the final that year, just after literally not even 6 months dancing together. And shortly after, we've been asked to come here. So our career kind of unfolded shortly after we started in here. So yeah, there was a lot of, and also during the training, it's not just, okay, now we're training, so I'm okay. During the training, many times I felt pressure. I wanted to do good. I wanted to prove to myself, but also to him, that he made the right decision, and to our coaches. I'm going to be honest, the coaches that we had at the time they were a little skeptical, going like, whoa, okay, well, you're representing our studio, you represent the country, are you sure? And he was like, yeah, if you guys don't agree, I will find another studio that will accept us. And he was very pursuing that. But during that training, I wanted to make sure that now, when everybody agreed, that I can actually deliver, that I'm not only good enough, but I have what it takes. But after a while, you kind of grow into believing that, what, I can do it. I work hard. I see the result. I see the changes, and we are a great team. And that became enough. Like, doing it for us became enough, not just to prove to other people that we can do it. So it was a lot of emotional roller coaster, and it was a process, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, and that takes a lot of, I feel like, emotional maturity to look for the intrinsic reward of the process of improving, of just enjoying the work and enjoying the journey, and
Hmm.
not looking for those extrinsic validation markers of either placements or judges like giving you the stamp of approval saying, yes, you are worthy of being at this level. It's like you said, enjoying everything and making it fun again, which I think is fantastic. Yeah, that mindset, that we referred to it on the podcast as imposter syndrome before. I feel like whether you're talking about amateur competitors, professional competitors, pro-am competitors, that's a constant feeling. I know for me personally, I was on pins and needles waiting for results to come in from a multi-dance this past weekend, because I wanted to prove to myself that I did the best I could for my student. So I don't think that ever
Hmm.
goes away. But talking about kind of shifting your own mindset, what coping mechanisms, or what affirmations, or what mindset shift did you make in your own life to get to that point of just acceptance?
Hmm. Well, at some point in my career, Tomas and I talked a lot. And, you go, like you said, through very different stages in your career. And of course, when you put in the work, you want to see the reward. But at some point for us, it became more about fulfillment and growth versus just the result. Because let's face it, um, when we go out there is multiple judges. We can't control what they like, what they see, and we also can't control about the competitors. And we know the work we put in, but we don't know if someone looks better, or have a better abilities, or is trained a little longer, or has a more interesting program, or delivers simply better. So those are things that it's out of our control. We never guarantee the result. So at some point, it became about, the fulfillment. So the structure that we had is always setting goals for each competition, which was not result goals. It was the goals that we want to accomplish, whether it is in a dance that we were working on, or overall that we wanted, whether it's a better stamina, or better delivery of our intention in each dance, or working on energy changes, or simply partnership, or many different kind of goals. So once that became a factor, we weren't obsessing about going out there and winning or going out there and beating someone, because then we would still compete, but we would not perform. And there were competition that we catch ourselves winning, but not really particularly enjoying. We would come home and the trophies there, and we were like, well, great, we're happy that people approve or acknowledge or reward, like or love, or but we weren't feeling fulfilled, because we know in the end that the performance wasn't what we are capable, what felt didn't feel like what we felt the previous time or felt in the practice. And those little shifts over time really made a big difference in our career, because we were going out there not to prove to anybody anything. We were going out there to really perform and fulfill ourselves with what the goal was for that competition as far as our dancing. And it really was a game changer. You're not stressing, and you're not just doing programs, you're actually dancing. There's a different energy. And as far as us, we've enjoyed it so much to dance together, and we actually remembered what the music was, or we remembered each other. Otherwise we felt before like we're programmed, you go, you do what you've been wanting to do, and then the results, and that's all you remember, that stress before the lineup. Or so yeah, it changed a lot. That kind of mindset changed a lot for us.
Do you see now on the judging side of things, can you tell the difference when a couple walks on a floor and they're just hitting their marks and they're doing their routine versus the couple that's dancing for themselves on a competition floor?
I think most definitely. And again, I can't be inside people's minds, so I don't know what they're thinking. But definitely the confidence and the dancing part that comes visible to people versus people just doing the routines comes with the preparation, I think, as well. From the practice, the way they practice, the what they wanted to accomplish. And once the couple is very prepared, I think it's they allow themselves to actually perform, versus people that just go out there doing routine and it's really mindless. There is no goal in it, there is no intention, there is no story in the choreography. So I think that's definitely visible. But again, I'm going to say I don't know whether that's a preparation or the way they think or the way they stress, because everybody comes with a different mindset or different background as well. There's people that truly just don't care. They want to just go out there and do it. There are people that really just want results. There are couples that really want to dance. They want people to feel what they do. And then it's definitely visible in when we see couples. There are people that move you, and there are people that you will say, well, they're incredible dancers, they have great technique, but they don't move you the same way. So again, it's visible, but it's hard to tell, because you don't know what the mindset is, or the way they practice, the way they what their goals are. So we just see the product. But definitely as far as that, I can tell, you can see there are people that just move you, plus they have the the qualities. You have to master your craft. So, but then there is whole other aspect to it. So some couples clearly have that, worked on that, and some not. That's visible on the floor, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You mentioned before that, every judge is different. Every judge is looking for something different. And as a competitor, you can't go out and try and please everyone. You can only do the best that you can for yourself and your partner. On the judging side, what do you particularly look for in a couple? You kind of talked about it already, and I'm getting the sense that you're wanting that emotional connection when you are watching a couple, but could you elaborate a little bit more about what catches your judging eye?
Well, I have to kind of talk about something here, because for us as judges, we all definitely have a dance background. So like you said, we do have personal preference. But when you do judge, and that's, I think it's a very hard part for us, you can't judge on your personal preference. You have to judge on what's in front of you and what's better at that moment. So for me, that was the difficult part in the very early stages of judging, because I know what I like, but that doesn't mean that that's what should be there. So I don't necessarily judge what I like. I judge what's better and what's in front of me. So of course, definitely you need to make sure that you have your fundamentals. Then there is a partnership. And I like to talk about a package. You have to have the package. You have to make an effort, whether it's the dress you wear, the hair, the makeup, your technique, if that's how you want to word it, the fundamentals, the skills that you have, the programs, the choreography, and all the little extras, like intention. It's a big one that I love, because I like when things have purpose, that it's not just two bodies moving around to the music, that I actually can recognize that this couple has a style, this couple has a style, they are about this, they are about that, so I tend to switch off my personal preference, unless to a point where there is, let's say, two couples that are so, I can't decide. I kind of switched that personal preference on a little bit and said, okay, what is that I like about that one more than this? Well, they're more dynamic, they're more they're more projecting on their attention, I understand them better, or whatever that might be at that moment, and that's where I would go with. So it's a difficult part. So I don't think that we all go out there and like, well, I judge feet, I love feet, so I'll pick the one that has the better feet. Well, I love when there is a purpose, so I don't care how the feet looks, I'll just go with what moves me. I think as the judge, you have to put that aside and just judge what's in front of you, and go with that. Yeah.
Sure. No, absolutely. You mentioned that you are very passionate about the idea of intention. I believe it was 2 years ago, actually, at this point, there was the Online Ballroom Congress, and you gave a wonderful lecture on this idea of intention and mindset. Can you talk a little bit about coaching intention, first from a amateur, professional, high-level, competitive concept, and then I want to transition and talk a little bit about the pro-am experience as well, but kind of on a high level, what do you mean by intention, and how can high-level couples incorporate that into their program?
Mm-hmm. I think as far as the word intention, it's what a lot of people understand as just artistic. For me, intention is not just artistry. It's really knowing what you're doing. Which body part are you using? What energy are you using? What is the particular pattern or step or choreography about? So for me, choreography is like that little sketch that you and your partner have to um, deliver on. What is the purpose of what you're doing? So for example, I've done Latin, so I'm going to bring out a fin position. So in that fin position, in everybody doing the same way, same steps, same arm to the side, in the professional division, I am thinking, why would I like your fin more than someone else's? Is because it's not just fin, is your fin. You know why you move your arm. Is it just the shoulder that you're trying to show? Is it the arm? Now, where are you? Are you dancing it to the audience? Are you dancing it to each other? Is it the intimate moment, or is it energetic moment? Is it, what energy gonna use? Are you accenting the leg, or are you accenting the arm? Or so for me, is really knowing what you're doing. Playing with timing. Is it just because the teacher said it should be syncopated, or you want to emphasize a particular energy in that moment? So for me, intention goes from knowing what you're doing, what body part you're using, what timing, Are you dancing to the audience, to each other? Is it about you? Or maybe it's about your hand. Is it about your hip? Is it about your rib cage? Is it about the head? What is the intention on? And I would say that as detailed as each particular step, because each step in each dance is not the same. We present a different idea of it. The dance might, let's say, be rumba and it's the love-hate relationship, but each step represents a different type of, or intensity. And I feel like being clear about what exactly you're presenting makes the dancing so much fuller, so much more enjoyable for audience and judges to watch. And it also allows you to express it a little bit different, because I know that people talking about expression as much as I have to express yourself. The one thing to remember, you're not dancing solo, you're dancing with a partner. And you're just doing a social dancing, unless that's what you wanted to do. You're performing for the audience, you're performing for the judges. You want to make sure that you're rehearsed and you know exactly what you're doing, because you can't tell them in words. You have to show them through the body together, through your choreography. So you have to kind of be on the same page. And sometimes we take that into like, well, I want to express myself, but it doesn't quite go with what the partner is expressing. Now for us as judges are like, are they dancing together? They're on the same page, or what is it supposed to be? Now we're not clear. So as much as we enjoy how you move and maybe your physical abilities and skills, but as far as the performance, the intention, it's not clear. And for me, as much as it is a sport and we rehearse, we do rounds, we train, we learn technique, we master our skills. When we go out there, those type of things supposed to be a tool to, move the audience with your choreography, move the audience with your dance. So if you're not clear on the intention, it's very difficult. We see then just the pretty feet or just the great choreography. I used to get upset when people say, well, I love your choreography. Then I would be like, oh, great, they didn't see me. They didn't see me. They didn't see what I'm trying to do. They still my cool samba trick. That's not what I want people to see. I want them to see me in it. I want people to say, my gosh, when you did that fan, I felt it. Or that was more of a compliment to me than I love your samba or I love your rumba routine. So when I say intention, this is exactly what I mean. I hope I'm making sense because I'm talking fast. But this is kind of where I love to work with couples. Knowing exactly what you do, how you go from foot to foot, how you move from one step to the other, how are you doing that with your partner, from, like I said, technical level all the way to the whole artistry or styling, design, as you wish. So yeah.
Well, and I imagine too that part of that is having multiple options in those moments to say, okay, if a song that has this quality comes on, we're going to style our fan in the moment to look at each other because it's a very romantic song. Or if it's got a little bit more angst to it, maybe I'm going to look away in that moment. Or having kind of different emotional colors that you can pull out of the toolbox to also add with the music, or, to make sure that your semi-final dance isn't an exact copy of your final dance, or a qualifying round isn't an exact copy of the previous performance. From a pro-am perspective, we're dancing closed syllabus. How can instructors broach the topic of intention and allowing moments for emotional contact or connection outside of the technique and the steps in the syllabus?
I think it all depends on the level that you are at as well, because let's face it, in order to focus on exact delivering of the intention, you need to have balance. You need some fundamentals. So I feel like there is a ladder that you have to kind of climb a little bit, like in everything in life, to get to a comfortable zone of thinking, now I can actually allow myself to focus on, okay, what am I really doing? and again, also depend on where you are at in your dancing. And as a pro-am world, let's put it this way: we have people that are really in young age, and there are people that are in the very advanced age, and they're not maybe capable of thinking of intention because they still want to master the balance. So I would not imagine teaching someone, well, I want you to use your shoulder and focus on that. Well, you can't yet figure out where your balance is at, and everybody in the middle as well, depending on where you are at and whether you're beginning your career or whether you're in that place where you're comfortable and know your fundamentals enough in order to now enter that at the level of dynamics, intention, and all that design, and then it's a whole another world in there, because everybody has a different ability, different skills, different, like you said, emotional, I wouldn't say maybe emotional, but mindset, different things that you like on yourself. And those are more like exploration now. You entering the exploration part. So it takes a whole another set of skills and whole another training. And then you have the partner. And I always, we've done program with students when we first came here, and I have never treated my program as a student. When I went out there to compete, they were my partners as well. So we had to at some point talk about it. So even if it's a beginning level, at some point, if we're going to compete, we will talk about the styling, but not just put your hand to the side. This is why we're doing it. This is what we wanted to accomplish. So I approached that from the very early beginning. If I start working on it, for people to know why things happen and what they're exactly wanted to do out there, not just because I told them, for the sake of the arm, keep it to the side.
Yeah.
Right. And then as you grow as a dancer, you definitely, you learn more about your body, and you learn more about yourself, and if you have the right teacher to take you on that journey of exploration, but then making a mutual decision of what we want to present in this dance and in this figure on this competition. And then I guess it changes too. We're all evolve and change, and we're in a different mindset and mind space, and our body develops, our feelings develops, everything develops. So it's never quite the same. The choreographies changes. So once you climb the ladder in a particular order, on the right order, you get to that moment, and that's the time to explore. Yeah, definitely. Not straight from the beginning. I think it's important to have the right fundamentals and knowing what you're actually doing first, what each dance is about, what not only emotionally but technically, and what energy is important, and yeah, and then you go from there.
Yeah, I think that's so beautiful that you mentioned that when you go into a pro-am relationship, you think of it more as they're your partner, not the student-teacher relationship. Yeah. I wonder if that comes too from the fact that you are also a female instructor, because I think it's one of the things that's always kind of fascinated me about the difference between a lead that is a professional dancing with a follow amateur student versus a follow student or a follow instructor dancing with a lead student is that we are often put in the position of trying to lead without back leading or assist without taking control of the situation. So it really does put pressure on our students in a lot of cases to take charge and be the lead for us so that we can do our job of shaping and styling and assisting and creating beautiful feminine lines through our program. Do you think, or have you experienced a good way of stressing that without putting pressure on your student, or making sure that they have the tools capable to be the lead in your partnership?
Well, I'm gonna kind of give you where me and my husband both come from. So our mindset as far as treating our students as our partner, it's definitely because we're really committed, and I can speak freely for him that he feels the same, whether he's the leader and I'm the follower. I think it's a commitment to your craft and then commitment to your student, which we always have a very high commitment, because I feel like if they're trust me with their time, and if they're trust me with their money, whether they're trust me with their future in their hobby, in their passion, I take that very serious, and so does Tomas. So our commitment to our student was always more of like, when we go to a competition, there are our partners. We're there to support them. We are a team. And therefore, whether I had to be a team with my student who I had to backlead a little bit. Why? Because they're in a stage of learning. You can't reinforce everything all at the same time, because people have a life before they have habits, they have different interests. And if they're younger and they didn't experience life as much, as maybe a little bit easier. But when they did, they've done different things. And our job is they put the trust in our hands to slowly develop those skills. So it's the same kind of ladder as I talked before. If I have a student that I have to go to I want to go to a competition and wants to go with me, and I have to backlead a little bit, I don't stress the fact that he has to lead me, because he might not be there yet with his skills and the training. But you guess what? I'm in your team, and I will make sure that I'll get you through that, and you learn and you still look good. And the same for Tomas as a male instructor. He takes that students into his care. This is not what people did since they were 6 years old. And his job is to make sure that he does everything for them to look great and learn to follow, learn that skill, as well as they learn all these other skills. And then we go from there. And hopefully, if the student is also committed, because you have to acknowledge that if they're not, it's very difficult for their instructor to take them on that journey into climbing the ladder of skills. And you have to make sure that the student is committed, but you are a team regardless, and you take that journey as we go, and you adjust and you see where you are at. So I don't think that anyone should stress that, well, if we're going to a competition, you got to lead me because I'm a female instructor and that's what's required. You might not be there yet. There is a lot to learn, and there is a lot to overcome, and it takes a whole deal of courage to go out there and doing something that you're not used to doing. You might have been training to be a lawyer all your life, playing golf all your life, or do a football, or whatever you've been doing. Your mindset was somewhere else completely. You didn't have the chance to develop the skills that we had at the age of 6 or 5 or 10. So our job as instructors to be a team with people that we teach and go from there on each competition. But I highly encourage everybody to treat them as your partners. They put all the trust in you, so it's important.
No, I think
Yeah.
that's great. I tell my students that are preparing for competition all the time, like, our goal is to do 100% on the floor. If that means I'm doing 70% and you can give me the best 30% you can give, that's fantastic. If you can give me 50% and I only have to do 50%, that's even better. But we're going to get to that 100% somehow. No, I think that's awesome.
Yes.
Pivoting a little bit to the business end of things, you mentioned that you were given the opportunity in 2000, was it, to come to the U.S.?
Yes.
So
June 2000.
When you were given that opportunity, was that through an independent studio? Was that through a franchise studio? How did that process come to evolve?
The coach that we've been currently coaching with back in Poland been asked if he knew a couple that would be interesting to come to an independent studio in California. And, we talked after one of our lessons, and we got in touch with the studio owner over here, and within, I want to say, 2 months after, overcoming all that paperwork and immigration stuff, we were here. Yeah. And we had agreed to take 3 months for both sides to kind of see whether this is where we fit, whether we fit for them, and whether we like where we are at. And after the 3 months, we liked to be in United States, and yeah, and we started competing heavily everywhere, and been here ever since, still in California.
You mentioned that you are now the LA regional representatives for Fred Astaire. You own several Fred Astaire franchise studios. You mentioned in the beginning that you just kind of fell in love with the system and how it's laid out. What was the biggest difference that you've experienced coming from a 10 dance youth program in Poland to now presumably working mostly with adults, more social dance with the American kind of dance style?
Well, it's definitely different. The system in Europe that I grew up with, and again, things might have changed. I haven't been an active coach there in any particular studio, so it's hard to say. But the system is different because it was competition only. Growing up, you represent a studio, you pay your tuition monthly to this particular studio, you represent in this studio on your regional events, nationals and world, etc. Now here there is a big range of different things. There is the competitive dancing, the social dancing, the pro-am dancing. So it's definitely took some time to understand how things work in here. But by joining Fred Astaire, it opened up my mind to learn a lot more how to serve people better in every stage or in every category, so to speak, and taught me a lot of how to be a better teacher as well. There is a structure in here that maybe I was a good teacher, but I was teaching what I knew. Now I've learned how I can help people to and cater towards what they need versus just what I like to teach. And I think that was a big shift for me. This is kind of how I fell in love by watching how the system of Fred Astaire is designed mainly as for adults, and I want to say a pro-am students. But it helped me to develop different skills as a coach while I'm coaching my professional couples as well. I pay attention to different things. I'm more aware of different things than I've been before. So it's definitely different and I love it. But the whole journey in the United States was a big learning experience. You know, I was a young amateur becoming just a rising star. We were just 19 years old, moving in and becoming adults overnight without parents and learning a completely new system in the ballroom world. We didn't know what pro-am dancing was. So there was definitely adjustments and it took some time to learn, but I think it's wonderful. And I'm really excited that Europe becoming to have a lot more pro-am events and putting more mind and thought into spreading the range and giving people like my parents who still live there now, they go into a Fred Astaire dance studio in there and they learning to dance together. They have a passion now, and it wasn't what they always say, well, it's too late for us. It's not too late. So I love that part about America, that anyone can do it at any age and any stage in their life.
Yeah, absolutely. I hate hearing when students walk in the door and they're like, I've wanted to do this for 25 years, but I thought I was too old to learn how to dance. And I'm like, no, this is perfect. I'm so glad that you're here. Like, today is the day we start.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So one of the things it sounds like you're hoping really takes off in Europe is this idea of dancing as an older adult, having more opportunities and more events that incorporate the pro-am competitive experience. What is something that you wish we did here in the US that you had experienced in Europe that you don't currently see us really making a priority or focusing on with our dance instruction?
I think I don't think there is anything, to be honest, that I feel we should incorporate more, only because being here for now 21 years, I have come to witness a huge shift in ballroom dancing, in training. When I came to this country, we had a competition maybe every other month. Now we have sometimes 2 to 3 the same weekend. And when you go to a competition, not only you see a lot of pro-am dancers, so many more professionals, so many more amateurs, but also the young kids that are developing to be great dancers. And that also tells you that the training is more intense in these divisions, to grow our young kids into becoming a great professional someday. So when I first came, I would have answered that questions differently, because I would say, well, I wish there was more young people coming into the industry and develop their skills and becoming a skilled professional dancers, and in the future skilled professional instructors and coaches and judges. But that shifted. That is what we have now here. So I don't think I would either change or incorporate anything else. In fact, it's the other way around. I do wish that there was more and more pro-am back in Europe developing, so we can have these full-on world championships. And now in Europe the smooth starts to be very popular, and I love the fact that young people there learn what that is. When I came, I had no idea. Watching my smooth competition, Tomas and I was, what do you think that is? We thought maybe it's a show, maybe it's a formation, but not really. There were different things, and we had no idea what that was. Well, see, now when you go to Europe and you ask a young dancer what smooth, they know. It's becoming popular, and I love that the whole world can speak the same language, not just America or Europe. So I'm a dance fanatic, so I love that we all can speak the same language. Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. We've had Aaron Pierce and Ksenia on in previous podcast episodes, and they both spoke highly of you and your team. I wanted to talk a little bit. The other thing that you kind of mentioned for that online congress, along with mindset, was this idea of building a good team around you to help support the goals that you're laying out for yourself. So as a coach of several professional dancers at this point, can you talk us through really the importance of building that team and how someone can go about starting to put together a team if they don't currently have that for their training?
Mm-hmm. Well, I had a team growing up of coaches and supporters. I feel like in any field, and maybe Aaron shared with you guys, if not, I have this big mantra that I always say. I have two very favorite quotes that I like to use. The first one is, we never finish when we are tired. We finish when we are done. And that was always driving me and Tomas to do more and work harder and get our goals in order. Another one that I love to say, you can go fast alone or you can go far together. And I truly believe and try to live that every day, whether it's in my professional career before or in the business that I'm doing here, because I feel as an athlete or an artist, there is always the importance of having an emotional support, people that look after you, people that have your best interest in mind. And these are the people that help to mold where you are at. Like in our real life, we have family, right? We have parents, or we have grandparents. We have people that help us to mold who we are, help us to find out about who we are, or implement some traditions or morals. I think in dance and in business it's the same. We help each other grow. And you need, I feel, a good base of people that knows where you are at in your career. They know what you need, and they help you, whether make decisions or give suggestions. And I'm not saying that this is the only, let's say, couple of teachers that you should stick to, but as a team you decide of who else you bring on board and what you're going to take from that person. Because you, and also, as you know, we've talked about it in the beginning, we're going through a different stages of our mindset. We sometimes get caught up with results, we sometimes get caught up emotionally, or there's things in the partnership you can't resolve. There's so many different things. When you have the right team, this is the people that help to motivate you when things don't go right, inspire you, help you find the right tools to move forward. And for me, that's, again, everybody's different, but for me and Tomas, that was always very important, because you do get caught up in different things, and there's a people that help you find the way again. They know what you're good at. They see you develop on a consistent basis, so they're most likely give you a better advice or adjust their teaching to how you transforming or how you're changing. And for me, that's very important. So I think for every dancer, for every good skilled dancer, I know they have a team surrounding, and they make the decision who else and what else we bring to the table. So I think, take Olympic athletes, they don't go just on their own. They have, whether they bring a psychologist to a team or someone else that can help with the specific skill improvement. They have the support system. And I think when you're a competitive dancer, that's very important.
Who was on your team? Who in your life were those supportive voices that you look back and can really credit some of your success to?
Well, our main coaches were always in our team, and it was Miss Shirley Ballas and also Mr. Richard Porter. Mr. Richard Porter was someone that we've coached with from very young age back in Europe, and the teacher that we had over there. And we stick to that team for our whole career. And that doesn't mean we didn't actually have whether lessons or didn't meet other coaches into in our career. We did, definitely, but it was always more of deciding as a team what it is that we need at the time. But we always had a consistent team with these two people that were very important to us and taught us, how to climb that ladder and what we need and how we evolve and who we bring to the table in different seasons. Because we were changing too, so there were seasons that we need more of a technician. We needed another opinion. We needed another someone that will adjust the choreography. So we've done that, but those were the two people that we've always kept on our team, and that helped us to grow and lead us to the finish line.
Was there a piece of advice that either of them gave you, not necessarily about technique or performance, but just in general, that you've incorporated into almost a foundational aspect of yourself or your teaching of others? Is there a piece of advice that you've kind of clung on to and said, like, this has been super informative for me as a person and me as a dancer?
I think both of these coaches, I can't really quote a specific thing at the moment, but the main thing that both of them gave us was the work ethic, to always strive to master your skills, that nothing is just luck. And if it is, you're not a true dancer. You're not developing yourself as a dancer. You're just going for the gold, which is for some people might be okay, but they're never as skilled. Like, you master your skill. And also how to become a better coaches. Not just great dancers, but how to become a great coaches, because they were a great example, of how to be a great coach and how to coach and make you who you are just better, not to make you like everyone else. And those were two coaches that always helped us to develop more of what we are than try to change us. And for me, that was a lot, because we were always Tomas and Izabella, just learning new skills, but never really lost who we were and who we wanted to be on the dance floor. And yeah, like I said, the work ethics, it's huge. We learn to work, we learn to put on the hours and do whatever it takes. And those two people were really very fundamental in that aspect. And we carry that to today, whether it's in coaching others or in business that we do. In every area of our life, if we do something, we either all in or not at all. There's no 50%. Not if you want to be good at it. Yeah. So
That's interesting. You
definitely pass it along anytime.
So you are not the first one to make that analogy that or to make that statement that you are all or nothing. You don't know how to do anything halfway. It's either we're doing it or we're not doing it. Do you think that is a key part of the mindset of becoming a successful person, of having that drive to say, if I'm in, I'm all in, or it's not worth doing?
I think for me, main thing in life, you can't achieve anything in life unless you know exactly what you want. I think having a clarity is power. And I feel like sitting down and writing down what exactly that you want. And if you want to become a dance champion, for example, or an amazing business owner or entrepreneur or athlete or artist, I think if you really put it out there of 100%, I know what I want, then there's no shortcut to success. I think you have to be all in and go for that, because number one, you have to master it to become to where you want to be. Second of all, I always knew that when I retired from ballroom dancing, or when I finished a season in my life that I've done something or achieved my goal, I want to have no regrets. I don't want to wake up one day and said, if I only did a little more, or if only I got up earlier that day, or if I did that little extra or learn a little more of new skills, I would have achieved it. That's how I am. That's how I always been. And gladly, I'm married to someone that is as driven, if not more. And I think, any successful person will tell you there is no shortcuts. You got to put on the work, but you have to know what you want. If dance is not what you want, then waste your time. And if that's all you want to do is participate and do it for fun, but then be clear about it. Then you don't wake up and think, oh, I have to do this. No. But if being a champion is what you want, you have to have a different mindset. You have to put in the work. Yeah. So I think that mindset of knowing what you want, clarity is power, then you know what to do. But then you have to do it.
Right. You have to follow through.
You can't have other people do it for you. Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, before we wrap up today, is there anything else that you wanted to talk to our listeners about? Anything that you wanted to make sure was out there for folks that might be interested?
Well, I think we covered pretty much it. I do love helping people. So if anybody has any question ever, and please, you have my contact information, or they're on all social media. Please contact me. If I can be ever of help of anything, I'm always at your service. I love to help people that share my passion and, share the love for dance or anything really. If there's something interesting that you find me speaking about and you want to know more, please just reach out. I would love to help as much as I can to anyone. So
Excellent.
that's it.
Excellent. Well, if you are listening or watching this and you want to find out about how to reach out to Izabella, I will put her contact information in the description below. Find her on social media or find out her information about her studios if you want to take lessons. So I will include that in the description below. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Izabella, for being a guest on today's podcast.
My great pleasure, and thank you for having me again. Thank you so much.
Thank you again to Izabella for being a guest on today's podcast. If you want to find out more about her dance journey or learn how you can take lessons at any of her dance studios, links are in the description box below. Once again, I've been your host, Samantha with Love.Live.Dance. You can find all of our podcast versions of these episodes at ballroomchat.com, and you can follow us across social media at Ballroom Chat. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, stay safe, stay positive, and we hope to see you dancing very soon.